it became the thing over the last 15 years for people across the political spectrum to believe that budget deficits didn't matter. And we in the United States, like so many other countries, spent money willy-nilly that we hadn't collected tax for. And we've been running budget deficits in the United States that are crazy, crazy high. And the bill's coming due, and I need to tell you how it's going to affect you and me. So I want to go back for a second to, in the Wayback Machine, to the late 1990s. So in the late 1990s, the U.S. was running a budget surplus. It was running such a rate of budget surpluses that what economists were worried about was how would the Federal Reserve do its job if the United States wiped out all its debt? I mean, that was the conversation because we were headed straight line to that. Well, then we had the September 11th terrorist attacks, and we had a big ramp up in federal spending and deficit spending, and it's never been the same since. And then we had the Great Recession that led to big deficit spending, and then massive deficit spending during COVID in 20 and 21 led to ginormo budget deficits. And so we're in a position now where every dollar you and I pay in tax, a big chunk of it is going just to service the national debt. And so the problem is interest rates have been so low for such a long time that it wasn't a heavy lift to pay the interest as taxpayers on that federal debt. Well, now, as interest rates rise to more normal levels, it means that not just are you and I paying more for a car loan or paying higher interest on a credit card or paying higher mortgage rates. The federal government is now paying higher interest rates on the debt. Plus, the levels of debt are going to limit the amount of room that our government or any other has to maneuver when there's a need or a want to spend more than we're bringing in. And if you look at what happened in the United Kingdom, in England, Great Britain, whatever you want to call it, and we had this prime minister that, I know this kind of stuff we don't pay that much attention to in America, but this woman who was in for like 45 days apparently there was this thing that became a thing that her prime ministership lasted a shorter time than it takes a head of lettuce to go bad or something. That what happened was when she came in, she proposed all kinds of new deficit spending. And, we're going to buy this, pay for this, do this other thing, and no way to pay for it, and do tax cuts as well. Well, the marketplace just melted down. And so this is a clear signal to us in the United States and other countries that have been spending money so crazy. I mean, the amount of money we're spending beyond the tax dollars we're bringing in, that this is not sustainable. And we've kind of hit a wall. So it means that we're going to have a more mature conversation than we hear in the political process. And we're going to have to really think through if there's something that we want government to do for us, we're actually going to have to pay for what we want the government to do. That we are not going to be in a position to keep our nation strong if we spend money we don't have. And that's always been true, but the thing is, people have always thought about it as being, it's going to be a big problem down the road. Well, the road now is here. And so moving forward, it's going to cause us to have to make tougher choices. And people love to say that they love lower taxes. I love lower taxes. Everybody loves lower taxes. But at the same time, we want government to do this, 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 and this, and this. So if government hands out candy, we're also going to have to pay for that candy. And that's the challenge that we face as we move forward. And that's not just for next year, year after. This is a real thing that we are going to have to learn more to live within our means as a country. Our states do it. Our states, almost all the states are required to have a balanced budget. And many states are running budget surpluses right now. And it's just how it's done. And everybody expects that. And at the same time, we have this psychology that the federal government can just spend whatever it wants. It can till it doesn't work. And we're moving into an era we've moved into. I can't say moving into. We've moved into an era that we got to pay attention. The budget deficit in the United States has been cut in half in 22 versus what it was last year. But what is that budget deficit? For a single year, we spent $1.4 trillion more, than what we brought in. And that is obviously not sustainable. It's not right. We've always said this isn't fair to our children and grandchildren. Let me tell you something. Forget the children and grandchildren thing. The bill is due now because of the changes in world economies and this rise in interest rates.